that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for our sake became poor. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And I'll never know how much it cost to see my sin upon that cross. I'll never know how much it cost to see my sin upon that cross. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. I wanna know you. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all days, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for our sake.
If the if that's okay. And thank you. As I said almost at the beginning of every lesson, I still kind of get nervous up here. A lot of pressure, looking out in the crowd and seeing Viv, glaring at me, checking every word. And amen. But I want to start with a prayer. And I've been, I struggle with the Christian walk. And sometimes I try to take prayer seriously. And a lot of times I play back the prayers that I have said or felt, and they just feel inadequate. And I know to God that really doesn't matter. But I've been I don't want to use the word convicted, but I have had a conviction of just trying to pray the Psalms, and get into that language of praise. What is praise for God? What is understanding my place under God or in Jesus Christ sound like? And I think we can really find a lot of that language in the Psalms. I mean, I'm not the first person that said, hey, if you need to improve your prayer life, turn to the Psalms. There are literally books written with that goal in mind. But I thought I would cherry pick some verses from Psalm 46, which is also going to tie into our lesson today. So here we go. This is not a psalm of David. It's a psalm of the sons of Korah. So let us go to prayer. God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountaintops quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. And then, after all of this, he says, be still and know that I am God. I will exalt among the nations. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Amen. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that, if anyone knows me, they'd be shocked to hear the subject of this talk. But I'd like to talk about two things: silence and stillness. Two things I want very badly in my spiritual life, and two things that kind of sometimes run through my fingers like finely grated sand. But even in failure, I do see their importance. And I see their importance because they show up so much in the life of the man I try to model my life after. That's Jesus Christ. First of all, I'd like to take us back to verse 10 of Psalm 46, and it says, be still and know that I am God. So the psalmist is painting a picture of the world crashing down around us. Crashing down. And we are told Be still and know I am the Lord. Sorry, I'm just going to put my phone on silent, which I thought I may have accomplished already. I do, yeah. I did, yeah. This is, last time I had a lot of object lessons. This is the object lesson. Be still and know that I am God. There's this theologian that I like named Dallas Willard. I believe he passed away, but I could be wrong about that. He's not returning my calls either way, so it doesn't matter. But he said, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Because he said, hurry gives us no time for God. No time for God. Hurry takes away from the things that we are supposed to be achieving in our Christian walk. At the very least, they make them more difficult to attain. Hurry. Let's say I have chosen 3 goals for the Christian walk. Be like Jesus, become like Jesus, be with Jesus, become like Jesus, do what he would do if he were you. So reflect Jesus. Let him embody you and let him drive you forward. Those are 3 goals. I think for me, I carry them around in a little note card in my pocket sometimes when I feel like I'm losing touch with those goals. And Willard and Jesus, I think, would say, hurry robs us of opportunities to be with Jesus, robs us of opportunities to become like Jesus, and it robs us of the ability to do what he would do if he were us. Busy and hurry are robbing us of this, of the ability to attain these goals. Corrie ten Boom, you might know her, the writer of The Hidden Place, the lady. She pops up in her movies every once in a while. I somehow escaped Baptist High without having to read The Hiding Place, but I did read it on my own later. And she said of this, she said, if the devil cannot make you sin, he will make you busy, right? And busy often goes along with hurry. Why are you in a hurry? Oh, I'm so busy. What do you do? I'm busy right now. You know, I don't have time. I'm late for a prior engagement. I got to get here. I got to get there. I'm already late. Right? I wake up on time and step out of bed, and I'm 20 minutes behind where I think I should be, right? And all I really want to get down, what am I late for? I'm late to go sit in front of the boob tube for 5 minutes so I can drink my coffee. That's what I'm late to. But I think, if I don't get down there, then I got to chug, and then I'm rushing out the door, right? It starts right away in our day, right? But busy can be bad, right? Busy can be bad. But busy can be good too. We can be busy, and that means we have a lot to do, right? You have a lot of responsibility. And you've turned your life over to what's important, right? This is the kind of busy that Jesus Christ has. He's turned his life over to what is most important. And if you read the Gospels with any careful eye, you see Jesus is moving, always interacting, right? So, but the problem is we're not busy like he is. We're busy because we have too much to do and too little time to do it, right? We aren't going about our day trying to pour ourselves into the best thing possible. We got a checklist. We've been handed immediate problems by a spouse, by a loved one, by a boss. These things need to be taken care of, right? You need to return that email. Emails, they're in the news now. If you don't return emails, you don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying, no politics. I'm just saying, emails take up a lot of your time now. Some emails you got to justify, and some emails you got to delete. Some emails I'm learning from my tech guy, you don't open at all. It's just very confusing. What do you mean I did not win a prize? It says I did, right there in the subject line. Don't open it. Right? Emails, they're very important, right? 30 years ago, ask me what an email was, right? Maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago? That's probably right? High school, I didn't know what email was. Email. What is an email? That's electronic mail. You don't even have to, it just comes right into your inbox. Inbox? I don't know what that stuff is, right? So technology, the ramping up of technology, may be one of the culprits behind making us more busy, right? I mean, I was very busy just the other day. I got on the computer and I set out to do some things and pay a bill, and I did that. That was very productive. I'm less in debt than I used to be. Yes, that's a great move. But then, something popped up and it said, top 10 underrated pictures of all time. So I clicked on the slideshow and I learned some interesting things. Yes, that guy is very underrated. Then, I'm on the computer. Nobody's really bothering me. I'm in my room. Go to the computer. I'm on the YouTube. I watch a 27-minute video by a man ranking the albums, the 40 studio albums of this really small man from Minnesota. And you know what? I already had my own opinions about all 40 of these albums. And I found myself arguing with this man over a truly bad album and where we were going to put it in the discography of this. This was important stuff. Important. Where will we put Bob Dylan's 35th ranked album? Should it go in the C section? Or should we be more truthful and give it the D grade? Push pause. Let me think. Write a comment. This is important stuff. Because when this gets back to Bob Dylan, it's going to change his career. Most of the things I do on the computer are totally meaningless. Totally meaningless. They do not matter at all, right? Except when I go to the Read Scripture app and that Right Now video thing. And I did this thing. I don't know, if you're looking to change your algorithm or your screen time, I moved the icon of my Right Now media. I have to scroll through 47 different Candy Crush games and all this to get to the thing that has Right Now media. And then somebody at work said, if you really want to see that all the time, you just go and press it like this, you press this, and then you put it down there, and it's in your bar at the beginning when it comes up. So now I'm a genius. But sometimes we're busy doing nothing. But at the moment, it's very important, right? We tend to have a lot to do and not enough time to do it. So you become like me sometimes. You just say, to heck with it. I'm just gonna go watch a slideshow about the top 10 Korean actresses and the dramas that they're going to be in soon, right? That's where we are. Technology is a tool for good, and it is also can be an enemy as well, right? And technology changes our lives in ways that we don't see unless we take the long view. I want to give you one example. Let's go back to the most basic technology that maybe we would think of, the light bulb. Here's just one fact about the world before the light bulb. Before the popularity of Edison's light bulb, the average human being slept 11 hours a night. 11 hours a night before the light bulb. If I told you, Tony, I get a straight 11 every night, you'd be like, that's great, Dave, but you'd be thinking, what a loser. What a lazy bum. How does he have time to do anything? No wonder his life is a mess. All he does is sleep. 11 hours. Technology has literally convinced us that 5 less hours of sleep are better for us, right? All you need is 8. We used to get 11, and we used to be up with the cows. But now we get 8, and everyone needs 9 gallons of coffee to get out of the door. But we're going in the right direction. So sometimes technology can be that tool that helps us. Like if we use it correctly, I'm not against technology. I'm not saying throw it out. But what I am saying is that it can be a horrible waste of time if you use it like me. Unless you're looking at the 10 most underrated pictures, which I found enlightening. Jesus, let's go back to the goals. Be like Jesus, or be with Jesus, become like Jesus, and do what Jesus would do if he were you. And we have to think about, well then, what does Jesus get busy about? And he tells us in Matthew 22, sorry, I should have had a little marker there, 22, 37 and 30 to 39. Let's see what Jesus says we should be about and what he's about. Oh my goodness, I still haven't made it there. Sorry, guys. Let's back up to 34. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, silence, a good thing, the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments." So Jesus says he gets an opportunity to boil down what he thinks living for God is all about. And he manages to say the word love about 17 times, right? I'm exaggerating, but his answer is love. Start with God and then everyone else. Love. Love. But it's hard to love when you're busy. Right? Is that true? Maybe I'm misstating it. Maybe busy is a good thing. Right? But we don't seem to get that from the Bible. The verse wasn't, be busy and know that I am God. The verse says, be still. And remember, what is happening in that psalm? The world, poetically, is falling down, crashing down around the feet of the writer. And he says, God says, right at that moment, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Jesus was busy, but he was never in a hurry. You can tell the great thing about Jesus, the great difference between Jesus and I would have to say, is how he treats other people, right? I've gone on record before, and most people think I'm joking. I don't like, if it was just me, I don't really like other people. I don't like the loud guy and the wah-wah who has to tell you his opinion about everything while taking up my spot in line. Don't like the guy who talks during the movie. Don't like it. Don't like the guy who has to speed ahead of me only to slow down when he finally overtakes me on my way to work. I don't like the guys who shout on the radio while I'm trying to hear sports. Don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like the people who don't work as hard as I do. Don't like them. I don't like other people, right? There's this French philosopher, and he said, and I stood by it for a long, long time, he said, other people are hell. But Jesus says, no, we have to change our minds. And you can see, Jesus is busy, but he's never in a hurry. Because you can see how he deals with other people. He never says, hey, can I get back to you on that? Can I get back to you on that? I'm going to CC you on that, and then we'll circle around later and talk. Well, I really have some family stuff going on, Jesus once said. I can't talk to you, woman at the well. Come and follow me, but don't get too close and stop breathing on me. Jesus never said, right? Jesus is amazing with other people. He preaches the Sermon on the Mount, and then this guy with leprosy has the gall and audacity to come up to him and say, hey, well, you think you could, I know, if you're willing, you could heal me. And I'm thinking, guy, Look, I just stood up on a mountain telling people how to improve their life for an hour and a half. Can't I have a moment of me time? What more do you want from me? I gave you an hour and a half of my time. There's pages and pages of red stuff that I just said in the Bible. What are you doing? Can't I have a moment? But Jesus says what? No, I'm willing. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. But guess what? You're important to me. And why does he answer that guy? Because that guy is not important to anyone. That guy is less than important. But Jesus says no. He hears him. No, I'm willing. And it's done. Jesus is busy about the work of the Lord, but he's never in such a hurry that he ignores the children of God. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, I've given myself a natural pause, and now we're going to move on to another point. So it would be a good time to ask if there's any comments. Bill's not here, so someone else is going to have to fill the gap. Bill always has a comment, and I appreciate it. Tony, Bill's brother.
I'll fill in for my brother.
Yeah.
Well, since you started talking about it, I was trying to about being busy and in a hurry in regard to Jesus. I just began to think, okay, if we were to read through the scriptures, when do we see Jesus in a hurry? Like, and if you ignore what Jesus said, which would be a terrible idea, and just watch what he did while he was here, you would never get the sense that he was in a hurry. I mean, he talks about it a little bit.
Yeah.
If you just watch what he did, he was never in a hurry. As a matter of fact, he often stopped things and everybody to do something. And I don't know, being in a hurry and being busy are probably two different things, because Christ was busy about the work of God. He even says it in the temple.
Oh, yeah.
I must be about my Father's business.
Exactly.
I think he was busy with the things of God and not in a hurry, and certainly the things that he did stopped people at times when they thought he should keep going. So just my comments on that.
Well, thank you, Tony. Anyone else? Elizabeth, is that a hand? Or are we just waiting for a high five?
Always. I'll always do a high five. I was jumping off Uncle Tony's comment. I love how the Chosen portrays when he was going to Jairus' daughter who was dying, and they're all like in a huge crowd, and everyone's trying to talk to Jesus, and all the disciples are around him, like pushing everyone away, like there's someone dying and he has to save her, like we have to go, and we have to go. And they're like even pushing Jesus, like you have to go. And then the woman who's bleeding touches him and he stops. And, like I love in seeing it played out, and he stops and he's like, who touched me? And they're like, everyone's touching you, like stop talking, we have to go. And he like stops everything and sees the woman, and he like forces everyone to like step back like 10 steps, and then spends so much time with the woman. And then the daughter dies, which I think is so interesting that happens. And then they're like, well, if you hadn't stopped, and then he raises her. But like even Lazarus and Martha were like, if you'd come 3 days earlier, and he's like, I had. But he actually let the thing happen instead of.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up at a later time, but let's go ahead and talk about that kind of thing and use it as a jumping off point, and we'll get back to the point in between. I was going to mention, too, that I think The Chosen does do a very good example of showing the mundaneness of Christ's life and the spectacle of Christ's life. And I think there must have been great heapings of both. But I wanted to say, it's kind of building off this other point here, is that we hear a lot about anxiety, and I know I struggle with anxiety. I know many of us struggle with anxiety. I'm not trying to say you can pray away your anxiety. You can, you don't need modern medicine or anything like that. But I want to say, in a time where anxiety is at the forefront of human life, and I just want to say it's always been this way. People have been anxious forever. One of my favorite guys, Søren Kierkegaard, wrote a book called The Age of Anxiety. The Age of Anxiety. And he was talking about the early 1800s. And we think, no one's been more anxious than our time, right? But I mean, imagine being a minority in the Roman Empire. It's got to be some anxiety, right? Being a woman any time in the past, it's got to be time of anxiety, right? Anxiety has been with us. But as Tony was saying, Jesus is busy, but, you never really see him, anxious. Never really see him just off track or anything like that. And I think it's because Jesus, if he could be summed up in one word, it would be relaxed. I think Jesus is a great example of having purpose and being relaxed with who you are. Jesus was very comfortable in his own skin. Jesus knew who he was and what he was about, right? He didn't have a conversation with a Pharisee who questioned him and said, oh, wow, maybe, I'm not going the right way. You bring up some good points there, Pharisees. Let me go back and regroup. And no, he says, no, I'm about this. You're wrong. You're wrong. This is what I'm focused on. And he keeps the main thing. And he's able to do that because he's so comfortable with who he is. And I don't want to let Jesus' godliness overshadow or outshine his humanity in this. Jesus was a human being, and as a human being, he was comfortable in his own skin. Something that has taken me 55 years of fits and starts to even try and do with any kind of long-term, effect. 55, and now I'm okay. It's okay that not everyone loves me at work. It's okay that not everyone's my friend. It's okay. Right? Jesus didn't worry about that. He just didn't worry about those things. Well, how did he get there? How did he get there? He got there. How did he achieve this? Through silence and solitude. If we look at the life of Christ in a gospel, maybe not John so much, but in the synoptic gospels, we see Jesus fully engaged with God's people, fully engaged with the world. Come unto me, all ye who are tired and heavy laden. Lay your burdens down at my feet. My yoke is easy. my burden light. We hear him say that. We hear him engage with the woman at the well. Go and get your husband. Oh, you don't have a husband. I'm here about living water, water that won't leave you thirsty. Fully engaged with the world. Fully engaged with the world. Pharisees asking questions. Sadducees, then Pharisees trying to trick him. Right? Exhausting. Exhausting. But he's fully engaged with it. He's mindful or practicing mindfulness before it was cool, before there was a corporate retreat to get our mindfulness weekend going. Right? Mindfulness. Jesus was always mindful of who? The Father, and how he was going to bring the Father to others. Right? But how does he achieve it? He achieves it by being fully engaged with the world and then withdrawing and being fully engaged with the Father. Right? At the beginning it says Jesus was called out to the wilderness. Right? Called out to the wilderness. The Greek word is eremos for wilderness. But wilderness is, it's not what we think it is. It's just translated as wilderness. It could mean wilderness. It could mean desert. It could mean, all those things geographically. But it also means lonely place, desolate place, solitary place. Because in Mark, later in Mark, it says, Jesus, Mark 1:35, it says, Jesus got up early in the morning and sought a solitary place to go and pray. And that's the same Greek word, eremos, as wilderness. So Jesus is constantly pulling away from the crowd, pulling away from the throng and seeking the Father. This is the heartbeat of his ministry. Fully engaged with the world, bringing the good news and the gospel, bringing love and cheer, correcting those who are oppressing and misleading the followers and God's people. Standing strong, sending people out of the temple when they turn it into the den of thieves, but also seeking that time, Jesus withdrew further, took his disciples and withdrew. Jesus withdrew back to the boat and sailed, right? Jesus, he's even kind of withdrawn within the group when we talk about, as Mark did a couple weeks ago, about Jesus in the storm, right? He's withdrawn even from the 12. He's exhausted. He falls asleep. He's in a time of peace and rest. And all turmoil is happening. He's living out that psalm we read earlier. The world is tossing and turning for the people on the boat. Are we going to make it? Jesus, wake up. Be still. Be still. And we again see that pattern of fully engaging with the world and withdrawing to be fully engaged with the Father. And I think in my own life, I spend a lot of time fully engaged with the world. Sometimes talking about Jesus. Very little time. A lot of time defending my own existence, right? I belong here. I'm somebody. Look at me. Very little of my time that I engage in the world is what Jesus was fully engaged in. But the one thing I don't do, or I don't do with the regularity that Jesus does, and which makes him probably the most relaxed cat in the world, is going away and becoming fully engaged with the Father. Being fully engaged with the Father. Well, I need to plan a weekend. I need to go up to Camp Manatee and rent one of those little cabins and sit in the woods for 3 days. I don't know when I'm going to have time for that, but I need to do it. That's when I'll do it. No, Jesus didn't look on his calendar. I got 40 days coming up to wander in the desert. I think I'll, and then I'm going to be tempted by the devil, but I got to fit that in. And then, only then can I start my ministry. No, he said, I got to do some serious silence, some serious solitude, some serious fasting. I've got to get a 40-day Sabbath going to energize this 3-year nonstop mission, this nonstop engagement with the world that I'm about to take on. And then just as a nice little treat, the devil shows up at the end, and that's really the only part we know about, right? But he was there for 40 days. He's communing with the Father, right? Even that kind of language is so foreign. What did you do today? I communed with the Father. Oh, shut up. You're not that spiritual. Who do you think you are? Show off. He's communing with the Father. He's waiting in silence. He's just silent. He's managed silence. I can manage this one kind of silence. I can now sit in my room for 5 to 7 minutes without a radio or TV, no external noise, except for that noise that comes, from people living in the same house as you. But man, I cannot conquer the noise in my head. That's a silence that defeats me. It defeats me all the time. I can shut up, but I can't stop talking. What are you doing? This is a waste of time. What do you expect to find here? God's not going to talk. God's not going to. What are you doing? Mother Teresa was interviewed by Dan Rather. I happen to think, my opinion, Dan Rather's a horrible human being. I spent 5 minutes with him. I think I know. Okay, he was horrible. He spent 2 days on worship and only ate in the captain's mess the entire time. Didn't come down, talk to the crew at all. Only the ones that he wanted to put on his little TV program. Not holding a grudge, never. I'm just saying, I like the Canadian guy, Peter Jennings, much, much better. He was a lot cooler. But, where was I? Oh, Dan Rather interviewed Mother Teresa back 60 Minutes years ago. And he said, when you pray to God, what does he say? And she just took a moment and she said, no, I'm sorry. What do you say? He asked Mother Teresa, what do you say during prayer? And she took a minute and she said, I don't say anything. I just listen. And so Dan Rather, being a halfway decent hack of a reporter, said, well, then, when you're praying, what does God say? And Mother Teresa took another pause and said, he doesn't say anything. He listens. And I think that doesn't make any sense. But really, it makes a great amount of sense. Just imagine if you were in a relationship and both parties in the relationship, the main goal that they had was not to be heard, but to listen. What would it be like to be in a marriage where you were more concerned about listening to your spouse and they were more concerned about making sure that you're heard? What about siblings? What about any relationship? What if we approached it like that? Where we just we were willing to sit in silence and listen. Where we were willing to be not the guy who's talking, but the guy who's listening. And I think it was really, really wise for her to say, because she could have said, well, God talks to me all the time. He tells me, this and that. But she knew that wasn't going to fly because that's not the way it works. I think it was very smart for her to say, God listens. Because that's how we show love in a relationship. That's how love is done. Jesus, the woman touches him. He turns to her. Who touched me? I'm concerned about you. He listens. He never interrupts in his interaction with people. He's just talking and listening. He has time for everyone. People, he's preaching he's in a house, just hanging out with friends, giving a little lesson. People are clawing through the roof. He doesn't say, hey, knock that off. We're going to have to fix that roof. He says, oh, hey, your faith is realized. What? And there are just people that I just can't be around. What if Jesus was like that with us? Your attitude really, you have a bad attitude. Go away and fix it, and then come back and I'll deal with you. No. If you read the Gospels with any kind of critical or careful eye, you see Jesus, and he is living out that gospel, the gospel of love. And he's encouraging all to come to him. All. Everyone. He's not worried about anybody getting there on their merits. He's not worried about justifying their position. He's not looking into their bloodlines. He's not checking their bank accounts. He's not offering gold cards or anything to get into the kingdom. He says, come. Come to me. This is the Jesus we worship. The one who calls all to him. He doesn't exclude. If I was writing the rules to get into heaven, there'd be no neck tattoos. People you'd have to read a higher quality of literature than most of you do. You'd have to like the right movies, the right bands, right? You'd have to root for the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, and the Flyers. And if you had to like soccer, the Union would be okay. We'd have a very Philly-centric, very South Jersey-centric heaven if I was in charge. But I'm not, right? Jesus doesn't put any of that crap on any of us. He doesn't say, you've got to earn it. And then when people come to him and say, I want to earn it. I want to earn it. He says, no, let me tell you, You don't want to earn it. You don't want to have the seat next to me. No. Let me save you because I love you. You don't want that. He says, take what is freely given. Take what is freely given. Don't desire to add to it. Don't desire to take away from it. God doesn't need earthly protection for his people of faith. He provides. He's the refuge. He's the rock. And so I really want to just, at the end here, I want a little bit longer than I think I was supposed to, but I just want to draw your attention again to that rhythm that Jesus Christ has. And I've been trying to put that in my life where I'm fully engaged with the world, trying to be like Christ, trying to be like him if he were me, right? And to shine in his image. I'm trying to do that. But I realize the only way that I can is that after I'm fully engaged with the world, or even before I'm fully engaged with the world, I've got to withdraw somehow, some way, even if it's just a step back, bowing of the head, and being fully engaged with the Father. That's where Jesus draws his strength. That's where he's able to maintain his relaxedness. You know, we have all kinds of reasons why we're uptight and angry. I'm hangry. I haven't eaten since 2. Look out. Jesus went 40 days. He probably was hangry. But, you know, it just doesn't come out. So I really want us to kind of focus on trying to get some stillness to combat the hurriness that's in our lives. And I hope this message has helped you maybe find your way to that. Is there anyone who want to say anything in closing, or as a kind of anything to go along with this? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me teach during February. It's been great. Oh, thanks.
Okay. All right, we have a couple of things coming up. There's a memorial service for our departed sister, Pat Connolly, this Saturday at 10 o'clock. And we're going to have pardon? Oh, I'm sorry, 11 o'clock. And we'll take time to remember Pat together. And she's a longtime member of this church family. Before that, the Laurelwood Church of Christ. And a luncheon will follow at noon. So there's going to be some food. I think there's a sign up back there. And is there any questions about that or anything that I'm leaving out that anybody knows of? Okay. All right. Aubrey and Dawn Watkins' family is with us this Sunday. And Aubrey, Dawn, and their 3 daughters will be with us. Aubrey will preach. And they were very active members at Collingswood in the early years of their marriage. They moved to Mississippi, where he's been preaching for many years. And it'll be great to see them. They're going to show their teen daughters sort of the area and, you know, where they lived and where they started out. And they're really looking forward to being with us, and we're looking forward to having them with us. Yes, Bill?
With that, he's also teaching, so it would be neat as many people as can be to experience his teaching. And also after church, everybody's invited over to our house for lunch with them. Whether you knew them or not, it'd be neat to come over and have a good time.
Great.
Have some lunch, big feast.
All right. Appreciate the hospitality. So everybody come on over to the Sarassos after church this Sunday, and they'll get you directions.
Why don't you bring some drinks? If you want to bring something, bring drinks or a salad or
And the main thing's the fellowship. It always seems that the food works out, but that's because a lot of people work to make sure it works out. I understand, but it should work. We're planning on having a new members class on March 9th. That's not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And do whatever you can to kind of sweep those people who are sort of on that boundary line into that class. And come along with them if you think that would help them to attend the new members class. Say, look, I'll go with you. I'll sit there. And we'll have that right after the service on March the 9th. Turn to number 779. 779, I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice. Are there any other announcements or news, anything I'm leaving out? Yes, Bill?
So we were having, I don't know if Akash knew this, we were having that graduation cake for Akash one of these Sundays.
Yes.
Do we have a nailed down date for that?
Uh,
March 9th?
Yeah, it may be March 9th. Oh, my goodness. Let me check my calendar.
What kind of cake is this going to be?
He got his master's in December, so this is kind of like, hey, we need to mark this and count this meeting.
Graduate programs don't always end in the spring, so yeah, I believe. Yes, okay.
We were talking about March 9th,
Yes, indeed. Okay.
but if you're having maybe 16, but we can talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Keep Liv in our prayers, our neighbor.
Yes.
She'd gotten one of the new kinds of chemo a couple weeks ago, and she'll have another round of that on the 3rd. But I just pray that in this in-between time, the chemo she got is actually shrinking the tumors.
Yes.
So,
We want to pray about that. Bill, maybe you could lead our prayer at the end. And also remember Rick, Rick Boyle, our elder here for many years, is having heart surgery on Friday. It was supposed to be last Friday. It was delayed. He's had a lot of delays as his schedule and getting doctors to agree with doctors. But Lord willing, that surgery is on this Friday. So I know he'd appreciate your prayers for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jerry went to visit him. Yes. Dave and Elizabeth, yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to announce one piece of praise God that I got offered a job
Oh.
where I'm student teaching, and I accepted it today.
Where?
At Bakery, where I'm student
Oh,
teaching.
great. That's great. Wow, I think that was a wise decision on their part. Okay, Dave, yes?
I just would like some prayers I've been having some issues with my back. And it is, sometimes it's really hard to get out of bed in the morning. And, but it usually loosens up. And I'm doing the things I usually do. I went to the doctor and they gave me the same old song and dance about
Yeah.
this and that. And also, Spencer is getting his wisdom teeth pulled out on
Mhm.
On March 7th. If we get approved for, if he gets approved for the care,
Right.
care credit thing, if we get approved for the credit, it should be no problem at all to take care of.
Yeah,
If we
there's
don't
that
get
thing.
approved for the
Yeah.
credit, we're gonna have to push it back and.
Been through that with my kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, praying for credit approvals,
Yeah. They've got to.
if you'd like to, I'll be praying for that.
They've got to make a decision that it's quote unquote medically necessary, and then that puts it in a different category. So that's negotiation with insurance companies
The
and
lady on the phone today, she talked to a lady about this for 20 minutes. She seemed to think that there would be no reason for, if he applied, that he wouldn't get it.
right.
You have a year to pay it back. And it really is, it's just a large thing to be paying all at
Yeah.
once. But over time, it's really not that.
Yeah. And how is dental not a medical thing? I don't understand that. I mean, it affects your heart. I don't know. But let's stay on topic here. but that gets to me because that is surgery, man. And when you need it, huh? have a lot to pray about, a lot to praise about, and let's sing to the Lord, huh? 779. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice. 779. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you, O my soul, rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear. May it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you, O my soul, rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear. May it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. Our last song is number 552. I remember Jack Swinehart used to say late in his life that he was praying to the Lord that the Lord would teach him to not get his own way. Boy, you talk about some wisdom there. To not get your own way. Wonder where he got that from. Number 552, have thine own way. 552, have thine own way. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded and still. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, Lord, wash me just now, as in thy presence humbly I bow. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Hold o'er my being absolute sway. Fill with thy Spirit till all shall see Christ only always living in me. All right, Bill.
God, we thank you that we can come to you and that you've asked us to and you tell us to. Thank you that you have our path set if we follow you. I pray that you be a light to our path and a lamp to our feet. I pray that we love and adore you and spend time with you. I pray that this church is blessed and that people here grow deeper and deeper in faith. And may we encourage and inspire each other to do that.
bless you all. Yes, yes.